YouTubers, welcome to a very special edition of Trends in the Housing Market. And today we got a very special guest with us. I'm very excited to have him on the show. Also, I am starting an hour earlier. I did send a few notifications out for people to let them know. I want to start a bit earlier so people could start watching a bit earlier on the east coast of Canada. And, wow, people are sending me tons of attachments right now. Today is November 16, 2017. And good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you're watching this transmission, broadcasting from Merritt, BC. It is I, Mike Martins. Co-hosting with me on a very special edition is the Lost Canuck. Where are you?
Hey, Mike. How's it going, brother?
It's going really good.
I just want to say thank you for letting me be on your show. It's an honor.
Well, no, it's an honor to have you on my show. And we're doing this show purposely 1 hour early so we could get the people in the Niagara Falls region to be able to tune in, or the East Coast or New York or whatever you want to call it, to tune in.
Yes, it's about time we start waking up the dead people, man.
It's time to wake up the sheeple is how they say it, right?
That's right.
So, give us a breakdown. What's going on?
Okay, right now in Ontario, or I should say in Canada, as we all know, you saw my channels before, my YouTube, advertising that Mr. Trudeau put in a bill back in 2016 indicating that if the mortgages are defaulted in a certain percentage, that us taxpayers will money be taken out of our banks. And that's actually passed.
Okay.
So,
I didn't see this. I didn't read this. So you're talking about an implosion where they're going to be removing money from our bank accounts?
Yes. It's called the bail-in bank. And it's a bill that's been passed by Trudeau and the Liberals. And it was sneaked in the summer of 2016. People can look it up. And what happens is now that he put that in place, now, of course, you know, because it started in BC, now it's coming here, where we have the Liberal that run the provincial side of it of Ontario, that they put the foreign tax exemption on them. And it's going to slow down a lot of things. Yes, it will. But my concern is what's going on in the new homes. And that's why I came online. I tried to send you a message because I haven't even found any brochures or any laws that if these people bought these houses 2 or 3 years or even a year ago and they're closing after January, are they grandfathered in? Are they going to bring in this new stress thing that the banks are enforcing now?
Well, the stress test kicks in January 1st.
Hey, sorry?
The stress test will kick in January 1st.
Yeah, so that means we're talking new houses too, because I can't find anything that's either grandfathered in or out, and that's what I'm worried about in Ontario. Because I'm a carpenter by trade.
Yeah, you have a real job.
I got a lot of good friends that are in the industry, that are framers, that are piece workers, and they, and like I said, it's like everything else. It's a domino effect. So if the carpenter doesn't have work, you got the lumber yard that doesn't have work, vice versa. The trucks can't deliver the lumber, and it creates a very big domino effect in the economy. So I'm a little bit concerned. I'm concerned of all these new houses going up, and it's going up crazy. When we had 99,783 vacant homes last year in Toronto.
I bring that up on an hourly basis.
Yeah, and now I don't know what the Simcoe is, and when my wife and I decided to sell our property, we were looking to rent, and the problem is, I swear, Mike, I can tell you about maybe 10 houses that I've been looking at to rent, to try. I was never getting a call back, and some of them look like they haven't been lived in.
Yes.
And this was in the city of Barrie.
Yes.
And it just upsets me that the government just, pretends everything's all hunky-dory, but meanwhile, back in the reality, people can't afford these houses. But they keep selling them to who? I don't know. No. And then the banks are trying to protect us from buying it, but they're the ones that cause the cancer in the long run.
What's happening is the bank interest rates are all record low. And they did this to stimulate the economy, and just like Max Kaiser says on a regular basis, the party will come to an end and someone has to clean up the mess.
it's us. At the end of the day, it's the taxpayers. It's like you said in your other videos, proper Canadian.
A Canadian proper.
Yeah, like all of us going to work every day and just throwing money in. And like the discussion we had earlier, I told you, in 1993, as a carpenter, fourth-year apprentice, I was making $26 an hour.
Mm-hmm.
That's 1993.
And the buying power. The buying power was incredible.
Yeah, and a house you could afford, and you're able to, make it ends come, right? Two people working, and that's fine. But now it's come to a point where, you can make double the money now, making $40 an hour. Problem is that $40 is not enough.
Nope.
Because the gas is at $1.20, or here in Ontario, I don't know what it's like in BC. And the other thing, Mike, I want to talk about is, so everybody hears in the English language everywhere. Ontario's selling everything they can. Everything they can. This government's making me sick to my stomach. They've sold our hydro. They tried to tell us that we're going to sell it for 20%. All of a sudden, I don't know if you guys know, Mike Duffy was charged with all this fraud and everything else. At the same time he was going to court, the same time our Wind government, which is the Liberals, tried to sell it for 60%, and everybody went in uproar here. So they were trying to sell it. Now, you could say, well, it's the Liberals. Well, we're going to go back, because that's what I do. You notice on my videos, I look at what the government's trying to pass, and whatever they can behind the people looking at the real truth is the Harris government, which was the PC government, was trying to sell it in 1990. Or sorry, 1994. He was trying to sell the hydro back then. So Ontario is already in trouble. We were already in trouble with the debt back then. Now we're at a debt of $313 billion. Okay, we have 13.6 million in population. Okay, people don't realize those numbers. When people look at numbers, they get lost. It's like going to the bank and you look at how much you spent. Unless you really sit down and you really sink it in your mind, the numbers. Like me and you can understand it, and a lot of people that look at numbers understand it, but most of the people that are listening right now, if you look at the state of California, they have 3 times the population, and they're 1/3 less in debt.
Well, you got to remember, California's still producing, right? California's still producing, exporting, fabricating.
I understand that totally, but what I don't understand is this government's trying to sell every resources that it made money. And if you guys remember, we had McGuinty that had the gas plant. You remember all that? That was going on? Just think about it. If this guy was able to put this gas plant in place, I can tell you right now, who's ever listening, that Ontario would be the healthiest province in Canada right now.
I remember that. That was Dalton McGuinty, right?
Yeah. It would have made a lot of money.
Yeah.
It would have gave the Ontario economy a boost. And he had to resign after that because maybe somebody on top says, no, you can't do that.
Well, of course. So, do you honestly think, Mario, in all fairness, that the people running, or the people that are calling the shots, or the people on top of the show that we see are actually running the show?
No, they're just puppets. They're lobbyists that collect money from all the corporate and big companies, and that's what they do. They just pretend they're for us, but they're not. They're not. And we only have, what is it, 58% of Canadian population voting? It's low. Yeah. It's been the lowest in years.
It is. Because a lot of people feel that their vote doesn't matter, but in all fairness, if every party's going to be the same, and we don't know who's really running the show, what is it in reality? Does it really matter in the long run? It's an illusion, right?
It is. It's a big illusion. And they say, I heard some professor telling me one time that America was only 1 or 2 votes away from speaking German.
Yep.
So, people don't realize. I understand we have a democracy in Canada and the U.S. And I hope there's Americans out there that are listening, and thanks to you, because your videos got me motivated to start talking, and that's how we started communicating with each other through the videos. And I remember when Trump was going in power, everybody that I know, including my family, didn't like him. But I said, you know what? If he's going to do what he's going to do, I'm going to encourage people to vote for him. So I put my first video out saying, go Trump, go. And I got a lot of views there.
Yeah.
A lot of views.
But
And, you're going to have criticism and everything.
the media is slanting too many people.
Yeah.
The media is building a picture that's never there. They're always creating some sort of thing, and it always backfires on them. And the media is supposed to be our watchdog and supposed to be protecting us. Instead, if anything, they're just creating a malfeasance or just creating this illusion that's not there, and then people are misguided. And that's why I made a video the other day saying, are heavily educated people becoming more and more delusional?
Yeah, you're right. You're absolutely right.
And
and it's like you said about the soccer, not to get off topic, but it's like when they got too greedy, they get their hand caught in the cookie jar.
That's right, because
and that's what's happening here in Ontario. Now, I want people to also understand they can look on the website, they can do whatever they want. They got Bill Marlowe.
Mm-hmm.
He's our finance minister of all Canada.
Yep.
He's in hot water right now.
Mm-hmm.
He's in so much hot water.
But who isn't in hot water?
Puts a little section of it.
But who isn't in hot water? That's the thing. Who isn't going against Canadian interests? Who isn't going against American interests? Who isn't? Everybody's going against everything, and it is what it is, and it's what's happening. You know what I'm saying? But now I got a question for you, Mario.
Yeah, go ahead.
How do you fix the housing crisis?
How do you fix it?
Yeah.
This is my opinion. Maybe it's wrong. I'm like a guy that's got no grade. I don't have a grade 12. I have a grade 10 if I'm lucky.
Yeah.
I think what's going to happen is two things. Number one, devaluate our dollar. Okay.
Okay.
You devaluate it right now as I speak on your line.
Mm-hmm.
Devaluate it. So you start bringing in real companies back into this province or in this country.
Okay.
Because we have the resources. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And second, let the Canadian people start supporting each other. And that's where we lost the definition of being Canadian.
Exactly.
Everybody runs. I understand. I do it too, but I hate the store. I hate going to Walmart. People run to Walmart because it's cheaper, because the dollar could stretch a little bit.
Yeah.
But in reality, it's not stretching. You're buying something cheaper foreign, and who knows if it's going to last half the time.
Yeah, do you remember back in the day when you bought something and lasted most of your life? Now you buy anything, it's garbage in a few days?
Yeah, exactly. And I'll give you a perfect example. I have a Toyota Camry.
Mm-hmm.
It's a 1999.
Mm-hmm.
I bought it for $1,100 2 years ago. I put $1,000 into it.
Mm-hmm.
I buy a domestic vehicle. I had a Ford Edge. Within 2 years, I had to throw in $1,000 in it.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the difference. What I'm trying to tell the Canadian, we could build better than Chaps. We could build better than we had. For example, we had the best aircraft the military can possibly have to this day.
Mm-hmm.
We threw it under the bus. Because why? We were going to be the top of the world. With 26 or 20 million people at the time, we were going to have the best airspace that ever was created.
Mm-hmm.
And we threw it out under the Lake Ontario because we were going to be the top country having the best utility for the Army.
Yeah.
But it just bothers me. It bothers me, Mike, that people are still today are going to buy houses, and I pray for them every day that they wake up and they decide, you know what, I'm going to put my house on the market. Now, we all know that Bitcoin's going crazy. We all know gold and silver, everybody, but I'm going to tell you right now, as a friend and as a believer in Christ,
mm-hmm.
start believing in the Son of Man. Because I'm telling people out there, when things hit the fan, no matter what, the first thing that's going to happen is a food crisis. If you look at Venezuela, what's going on over there,
yep.
and I understand it's part of a third world, but we're not too far away.
No.
We're all living on credits and credit cards
mm-hmm.
until they all collapse.
Yep.
Then what? If food is not brought to our places or municipalities that we live in,
mm-hmm.
no matter if you have gold or Bitcoin, what are you going to do with it? Hang it on your wall?
Yeah, I know.
This is what I don't understand. I don't understand what people think, what they're doing. I wish everybody would do it, like I said in one of my first videos.
Mm-hmm.
If everybody would go to the bank on the same day and take out their liquid cash.
Yep. That will cause a runoff on the markets.
That's right. Then you'll see the banks collapse. Then you'll see this country become a country. And like and like you said, how are you going to fix the housing crisis?
Mm-hmm.
We have more of a bigger issue than the housing crisis. We have a freaking pension crisis I've been preaching for the last year.
Mm-hmm.
Since you said about the housing crisis, I work for the biggest union.
Mm-hmm.
And these guys, not just the union, I'm talking everybody that invests in the housing crisis,
Mm-hmm.
we're in trouble. Because now the baby boomers are coming out in pensions. Everybody's getting fed. People are living a lot longer than what they contribute.
Yes.
And the problem is they're not telling us what they invest. One of my videos, I got black flagged because I talked about the teacher's pension.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the teacher's pensions invested in a lot of things. They're very smart,
Mm-hmm.
but they also gamble. So people got to understand, I think that's the safest one as we speak today. But like you said, how you fix the housing crisis? Make the dollar go down,
Mm-hmm.
raise the rates, go back to 5, 6, 7%
Mm-hmm.
on $200,000, $300,000 mortgages.
That's right.
This is how you're going to correct it.
That's the yeah. Can I tell you my way? My what I believe?
Yes, I want to hear it. I want to hear it.
Okay. We have to reform our entire free market.
Yes, I agree.
100%.
100%.
Reform the free market system, because the free market system was designed in English-speaking countries for foreign people from all over the world to come in and invest in our factories, create jobs, create businesses, spend money in our stock markets, spend money on our infrastructure, spend money into different things. But no, what's happened was they've taken the free market and used it against us and started buying up our properties. Now our future next generations are going to be bought out and they can't afford to live anymore.
It's sad. It's just sad. It's sad. I see old people in my neighborhood that can't even pay the rent because their pension is like $800 a month.
Yeah.
Now you could say it's their fault because that's what a lot of people say.
Yeah.
And I want the listeners to listen too. Like, I got a lot of guys at work, and I kind of, not instigated, but I stick up for them when it comes to Native Indians,
Mm-hmm.
because the natives are the ones that gave us the rights in this land.
Mm-hmm.
They're the ones that are keeping our democracy at a level that we can still keep fighting today, people. Because once you let them take control of them, we are done.
Yeah.
We are done. People don't understand the language that what happened to us as people of Canada. And the States, we're hearing about the guns, we're hearing about this. It's not just about the guns, people. If you take the guns away, look at the history.
Mm-hmm.
The history of countries that take guns away from the people.
Yeah, Mao did it.
That's all I want.
Mao
That's all
did
I
it.
want
Hitler
people to
did
look
it. Chavez. I mean, a lot of every country took away the guns, but you got to remember the population difference in the two countries too makes a huge difference, right? I think Venezuela.
I know.
Venezuela has 58 or 38 million people. It's quite a lot more people live in Venezuela than Canada, right? But in all fairness, in my opinion, the free market needs a reform in all English-speaking countries because it was not designed for people to come in and buy up our territory.
That's right. Like me and you, let's say we had $1 million. We want to go buy land in Mexico. You know what they tell us to do?
Get lost.
No, you can't buy it.
Yeah, I tried buying houses in Mexico twice. One in the state of Guerrero and one in the state of Jalisco. And both times they told me to get lost.
Yeah, see?
So, and I said, I'm going to buy it free and clear. We don't care. You can't buy here. So,
Yeah.
So how do you, let me explain to you how my reform system did. I've done it in a few videos, but I'll just make it really fast. I'll explain to you really fast, okay? We create a mirrored system, immigration system. How it works is if I want to immigrate to Italy, for example, and I want to live in Italy, what the Canadian side would look at is, what is a Canadian citizen allowed to do in Italy? Is he allowed to buy? Is he allowed to work? Is he allowed to do this? Is he allowed to do that? Then we allow people from Italy to do what they allow us to do in their country in reverse.
Yeah, that's true. You got a good point. The only problem is, Mike, when you make a law, there's always a way of twisting it.
No, but I'm saying it's in stone, and it's a mirrored way of being transparent and not being racist and looking at what Italy Italian citizens are allowed to do in Canada, and what Canadian citizens are allowed to do in Italy. We just copy what their country does. So let's say, for example, another country, let's say Thailand. I can't buy anything in Thailand, okay? Because I have to be a citizen, but I can never become a citizen.
Yeah, I understand.
So
I understand
basically,
totally what you're getting.
from people from Thailand coming to Canada, that they cannot buy and they can never become a citizen. Not because we don't like them, it's because their policy towards us is that way.
Yeah, that. I got nothing against that, but I would add something else.
What's that?
I would say no corporation is allowed to buy a low-rise residential dwelling.
Mm-hmm.
It's got to be a sole proprietor or partners, husband and wife, or whatever you want to call marriage today. It cannot be illustrated that it's a numbered company or limited company, because that's what happens here in Ontario. Those vacant homes are owned by one name, and that one name is representing 7 or 8 different companies, like a pyramid.
Well, never mind the one name. A lot of these homes are owned by a numbered company, period.
Yeah, exactly. So what happens is they don't pay as much tax as us, because, you know, you own a corporation. You pay, I think it's 28 to 30% instead of 38%.
No, it's like 6%.
You own a corporation.
It's 6%.
And when they sell it, I don't know if they pay taxes.
Mm-hmm.
I have no idea, because they get themselves away. Now, if I was the government, like you said, the mirror image, perfect. And then under that, we'd put, if you're a numbered company and you're buying, we'll do like the same as France. We charge you 70% of tax when you sell it. 70%. So you stop the pyramid, or the dominoes of people coming in and just buying and buying and buying.
Mm-hmm.
And it's sad. It's sad for my kids. I got 3 kids, and for them to grow up and 2 of them are young adults and they want to buy a house. Like, for the love of God, you need 200, 300 grand just to buy a townhouse to put a down deposit, even in Barrie.
Yeah,
like, where do you get that kind of money?
But you're a carpenter. You understand what's going on. You know the business. You know that house doesn't cost more than 60 grand to make.
No. The prices from, let's say, I'll even go back 10 years. 10 years, and that's being fair. Lumber hasn't changed. Property's only changed, and the fact that the media is pushing all this, we're short. I don't know if you watched the article. I think there was a lady on. I can't remember. I apologize. I'm not telling the viewers. She was on the news, and she was saying that we have a shortage of homes. I got on my YouTube, and I try to put a video. I try to get online. I try to, are you kidding me? Are you kidding? These people can't even afford the driveway. I couldn't even afford the driveway. You're asking in Australia, you're asking millions and millions of dollars for these shacks. Mm-hmm. How the heck are you going to buy those houses? What are they making, 300 grand a year?
Yeah, no one's making 300 large a year.
No, and like you said, you got to work 2 or 3 jobs. My poor wife does cleaning homes. She goes and does before and after school. Mm-hmm. She works at HomeSense, part-time. Like, she doesn't stop. I go to work during the day. I even ref. I don't know if you saw one of my videos of wearing a ball hockey referee shirt.
Oh, okay.
I ref on the weekends just to get some exercise and a little bit of extra cash for beer and barbecue sometimes. Yeah. But, I can imagine other people out there that are more debt than me. And like you said, I actually went to Fortino's in Woodbridge. We were in Woodbridge. I should call it Woodbridge. But anyway, I was there, and I saw 2 people with shopping carts, and guess what they paid with? Credit cards.
Of course. And you know what they always say? Oh, I'm collecting points. Yeah, right.
Yeah, yes, exactly. And I said to my wife, I heard this guy, Mike Martin said it, they're paying with credit cards. And it's so true. And I think that's the next crisis that's going to happen with the banks. I think maybe the housing is going to stay the way it is, just to keep it afloat. But what's going to happen is people are going to run out of that free money they got.
Yeah, that they forget that they have to pay back.
Yeah, and it's going to run out, so they don't have the free will of spending anymore. What I don't understand is they're popping up all these commercial buildings lately in Barrie, and there's maybe 40 to 50% that are vacant still.
Exactly.
So I don't understand why they're putting up all these buildings, who's getting the funds, to put up all these buildings, and
Listen,
next thing you know,
the-
they're sitting for free. Now, people can understand.
The
We as
contractors.
taxpayers are going to build this out. It's not because you're keeping the economy going. It doesn't work like that.
No,
the economy only works when everybody else is working.
Right, when everyone else is working, producing and exporting.
That's exactly.
If you don't export, you don't make the country's GDP is crap. It's just built off housing, student loans, and unsecured debt.
That's right. That's right. And then you got the schools. I'm going to ask you a question now, Mike, and all the viewers out there. Who owns the universities?
Well,
who owns all these universities?
I'm thinking they're privately owned. Are they?
Yeah, but no, government doesn't own it. What happens is they're shareholders.
Mm-hmm.
So these shareholders hold it. There's no loss. There's no cap. There's no nothing. So these poor parents that, especially the ones that are hardworking immigrants that come here, like your parents and my parents, they want our kids to be best educated in this country, which I got nothing against. But I want the viewers to know education's only a system. It's not reality sometimes.
No.
It's not the way you live. It's the way the system wants you to learn. But you have to learn it to become better at what you do. But at the same time, you have to be like me and you. Think outside the box. Understand reality, the truth. But educate yourself too at the same time. So what I tell people is, especially the ones that get back to me on my channel, you guys can look it up, the Lost Canuck. I tell you, smart and educated is two different words. Educated is a system that you pay for. Being smart is a will that you want to be.
Yes.
I want people to understand the difference. So the schools, and going back to what I asked and you answered, is they're shareholders. Now these shareholders could be lawyers, doctors, executives, whatever. Eventually these people that go to these schools work for the people that invested in these universities. My daughter went to York University. What makes me really upset is the money we spent to go there, and when you go there, buddy, you can't even walk. It's full. If you had a fire department go there, they shut it down.
Yeah, because
it's overpopulated.
Capacity. Yeah.
Yeah, and they're collecting so much money, and everybody, like, thank God my daughter is not in debt. My wife is very smart with her money. She's not like me. She put the money away in a RSP for the kids to go to school.
Yeah.
I think we end up paying, $5,000 out of our pocket. Everything else was paid for.
Good.
For 15 years. So we did very well on that. And I'm proud of that. Proud of my daughter's school. She finished. Now to get a job. That's the next step. And I want the listeners out there, all the ones that got people in school, kids in school, pray to God you find a job. Pray to God you find a job, because it's not easy.
No, I know it's not. That's why I did a show a few weeks back about the student loan crisis that's happening right now, and
it's crazy.
You know that student loan debt in the United States have surpassed mortgage debt.
Yes. I read that somewhere. I couldn't. If I remember, I couldn't even remember right now, and I was in shock.
Yep.
You know, there's another guy you could look at too is Clemente.
Gerald Celente.
Yes. He's very good to listen to. I think he's from New York.
Yeah, he's from New England.
New England, and I love listening to him. He's right on the ball. I've listened to him quite a bit. I listen to you. I take all the information. I do my own research and sit down. But I want people that are listening to me and you, I want them to do their research. Let them know. It's so much. It's actually an addiction. For me, it's an addiction. I always want to find a mistake in something. I'm always interested in numbers, because numbers, like I said before on your show, it only hides on people that don't want to know the truth. Because remember, a word, me and you could say a word, it could mean different for me and you, right?
That's right.
It can mean different in different sentences or paragraphs, whatever. But a number represents a number that everybody understands.
That's right.
In any language.
Of course. It's like musical notes.
That's right. Exactly. And another thing I want to talk about too is I have a few guys that I know that I play ball hockey with, that they work for a third company that does the meters on these new homes. They do the hookup. Now, Win has sold the company. The actual company used to be called Power Stream. Now it's called Electra. Now, do you remember one of my YouTube channels? I talked about selling the hydro.
Yep.
It was around February, and I said Berkshire's development.
Mm-hmm.
Well, they didn't buy that, but they bought Home Capital.
Wow.
Now, Home Capital, see, this is interesting because on my last video I just put out, I want the viewers to watch it. Give me your comments on it. I want to hear from you. But I'm going to give you a short, brief description.
Is the video up?
Home Capital has at least 60-65% of the mortgages in Ontario. Okay? So what happened was they were going to collapse. Their stocks dropped in end of April, beginning of May.
Yep.
And all of a sudden, Mr. Trudeau and Bill Barlow and the CEO for Bank of Montreal were in Seattle, where you've been attacking Seattle. They made a deal in Seattle to put a $2 billion line of credit to Home Capital for Berkshire's development, the one and only Mr. Buffett. Okay? Now, what I believe is Mr. Buffett just put his name there, but I don't believe it was him. I think what Trudeau and Bill Marlow did is they broke the law, first of all. Second of all, why wouldn't they do it in Canada? This is a question I want my viewers to understand. Because under the Constitution of Canada, you cannot pass that law as a prime minister and as a minister of finance because they're breaking the law. So what do? They go to Seattle. They have this meeting. They get this $2 billion line of credit that's American that gets thrown into the bank and helping Home Capital. Because the housing crisis should have crashed in May.
Oh, it should have crashed, buddy. How does it crash? It should have crashed 10 years ago, and we should have.
Probably.
We should be
what
going
I'm
to.
saying is it should have crashed now.
But
it should have went. It should just fell apart.
From my calculations, we should have had a housing crash two times already.
Yeah, exactly.
Two times.
And the best, Mike, the best is when the media says we never had a financial meltdown like the States. Are you kidding me? We got bailed out. We got bailed out too in 2008.
We did get bailed out big time. We did get bailed out big time.
You know, and they go around and they say they haven't got bailed out. We run on 70-75% American currency in our banks.
Yep.
So how did we not get bailed out when everything was falling apart down there?
Exactly.
And you got the biggest bank down there that does it on purpose. They control everything. They control Europe. They control the States. They're controlling Canada. And it's unbelievable. It's unbelievable that they're still operating. There's people that, you know, they were high up there. They killed themselves. They got out of the banks.
I heard about those suicides. Was it Merrill Lynch? Or I couldn't remember what company, but there was 8 or 9 suicides from the same company.
Yeah, in a matter of a month or two, because they found out what was going on with the fraud. Everything about the fraud. And it was just going to leak out. Like you said about the soccer, they got greedy, and these people got more than greedy. They got immense greed in their own heads. And that's what happens. And I pray to God, man, I pray to God that we need a correction, and we need it soon, because I believe that Sears Canada invested into Home Capital.
Oh, yes, I heard that rumor, too. That was flying around, too.
Okay, I believe that they did, and I feel for those people that gave the service. They're at home, and they're getting there. And they're not the only ones. See, a lot of these people think when they get a pension check from any establishment that they did the service, from unions, from non-profit organizations, that they're safe. They're not safe, people. You're never safe. If the money's there now, it might not be there tomorrow. And they can decrease it. They can give you 30-40% decrease. There's no law that stops them from doing that.
Exactly.
So I'm waiting for that to happen, and it's going to happen soon. I give it around February, March of next year, unless they start changing things and start collecting. Did you know that there's the union that I'm talking about is that they have to put in $1.85 of their pension money into a pot since 2010 just to cover the liability. It doesn't go to them directly. It goes into a liability.
A liability pool.
Yeah. Let's say they're collecting $7 an hour going into a pension. They're actually getting $5.50 to their pension.
Yes.
So the 180 goes into a pot that's unfunded liability, meaning if everybody would retire tomorrow, that's how much debt they're in.
Wow.
And like I said before, people are living longer. So their contributions to that fund is overdrafted already.
It is way overdrafted. Anyways, I got an email here I want to read to you, okay?
Go ahead.
There's a guy, his name is Jake from Nebraska. Listen to this. This is actually interesting. He says, Mike, I was dumbfounded when I was told that a person can sit and talk about housing for a whole hour. I was skeptical at first, but your show is amazing. The content is amazing and very easy to understand. My 11-year-old son likes your show too. So people can't believe that we could sit here and talk about housing for an hour.
Oh, me and you could talk for it the whole day.
Yeah, we could talk about housing for the next 3 months.
Going on and on.
Yeah, a lot of people are waking up to this and starting to realize, wait a minute, this guy is on 1 hour talking about housing? Are you serious?
Yeah.
Doesn't he run out of things to talk about in 5 minutes? No. Apparently, there's so much cracks in the system right now. And they're starting to show. The cracks are showing.
I'm gonna tell the viewers out there, like, your show is amazing, got me going. You're the godfather to the underworld of housing trends and housing markets and
thanks, man.
People speaking out the truth. And when I worked for the biggest union in North America, okay, I dealt with residential low-rise framing, labor, power, everything. So I used to do a lot of the economics of what was going up, what people are spending, and I'm gonna tell you, I found this out when I sat down one day. I was doing the work. I was on my computer. And in 2013, I said, we're going to have a problem. And everybody goes, well, what do you mean? The economy's good. What are you talking about? We haven't made a change in our own income, but houses are going up. Property tax is ridiculous. And we're overpaying for services. And we're getting services taken away. So how does this help us in the economy? You want to express, we had a guy that went to school. I didn't go to school just like you. He sat down in front of me. He was an economist, and they make me laugh. And like I tell the viewers out there, you can be educated. That's fine. I got respect for you, but it doesn't mean you're smart. Okay? Because this guy was going on, and finally I said, okay, you know what's going to happen now? In 2000, I even said it, 2015 and 16, my prediction is people are going to start buying smaller homes, smaller units. There's going to be more of them. And what happened? In 2014, they were fighting with companies because they were building mid-rise buildings.
Yep.
You see them out of wood. And I think BC is the first one that has a 11-story wood frame that they build out of wood.
Yeah. And
over here in Ontario, they go up to 5. So I said, look how many are going up.
Yep.
Look how many are going up. People are not buying the detached to grow a family, to run around in their backyard. No. They're buying those because they're still unaffordable, but the closest they can get is called a home. And that's what's happening. And I said it from day one. I said, unless they bring the dollar down, people thought I was crazy. I said, why is it crazy? The country would build so much root if you bring these companies back. I remember going to the store. Everything was made in Canada when I was a kid.
Oh, in the United States?
Go pump gas. I don't know. Maybe I'm older than you. My father used to go put gas. It was 30 cents in the 80s. You go put gas in a big boat. He used to drive a Plymouth Fury. He put gas. And we used to get a free hockey stick for a fill-up.
Yeah.
Today, good luck. If my son was playing hockey, still, the hockey sticks, the cheap ones are $90.
Yeah.
And they're made in China. So go figure. But when they were made in Canada, they were affordable.
Do you want to know something?
They're made in China, so everybody, the guy in the middle, like you said, the person in the middle that controls everything in the market is making so much money, it's gone to greed now.
It's gotten, and I keep telling everyone, there's a couple of things I keep saying to everybody, that I think the Antichrist is money.
Yeah, you're right. How many people that are listening to us right now actually have a little storage of cash?
Not anymore. Back in the 80s, everyone has a stash of cash. Everyone.
And I recommend everybody that's listening to us right now, go take out $500-600, even $1,000, hide it. So you have it. Because one day it happened in Greece, and Greece is not a poor country. One day Greece couldn't even go take out, what was it, 60 euros a day?
Yeah, because they had a runoff on the banking system.
Yeah, so it can happen anywhere. It can happen here. It can happen in the States. It can happen anywhere. If they have a glitch, they're in trouble. Oh, the best is when they say the system's down. I don't know if you remember what happened with TD about a year or two ago.
All their systems went down for a whole minute, and everyone's bank account went to zero for 1 minute. Then everything went back.
Yeah. So in other words, there's another guy. I'm not too fond about him, but he had a good YouTube. I'm trying to remember his name, but anyway, he lives in Mexico.
Mm-hmm.
He was a guy that loves the Bitcoin. He encourages people to invest in it, and he actually had a TD account. He went to Mexico, and he couldn't take any money out.
Mm-hmm.
And he said, "This is just a test. The banks want to see a test."
Mm-hmm.
At the same time that happened, they got caught selling products to their customers that didn't need it. Do you remember that?
Oh, yeah, that's when... Yeah, that was a big problem. It wasn't just them. It was a lot of...
Yeah. I'm just saying TD because it was on the news first.
Yeah, because a lot of banks, what they were doing, unfortunately, they were selling Mickey Mouse products, banking products, that customers didn't need, adding Mickey Mouse insurances that they could never use. They were giving unemployment insurance to some people buying a house that were self-employed that couldn't go on unemployment. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
it was really bad. It was a total gong show is what that was, and it's really sad to see how, okay, can I first let me backtrack to what you said earlier about everything was made in Canada. First, I want to say, do you know that in 1910, one out of three things in the world was made in America?
Yes, that I know.
Okay, in 1910, 1 out of 3 things on the planet was made in America.
Yeah.
And I want to also backtrack. I wanted to say that, and then I wanted to backtrack to say, I was going to say something about, God, I forgot what it was. Damn, I just lost sight of me. But okay, so continue. So now, let me read. I have a video here that I put up yesterday, and it's got actually 368 views, and I want to read to you. I want to read to you what this real estate agent wrote to me. Okay.
Yeah, go ahead.
It's
Are you talking to the one from Australia?
No, the guy from Surrey. There's a Surrey in Australia, a small town, but there's a city here in BC called Surrey, British Columbia.
Yeah.
And
okay.
He says like this: eventually you'll be right, but you'll be wrong more often than you're right. From what I see, you are just a clickbait headline saying the sky is falling every time. You told buyers not to buy over a year ago in Surrey. Now their condos are homes are over 15% in the last 12 months. Single family homes are over 20%. Townhouses are 30%. And condos are 40% up listed. And you told a ton of people not to buy.
I got an answer for that. I got an answer for that right on the tip of my tongue. If those people bought the houses, like he says, he's right. Yeah, they made. Let's even say they made 40%. Okay, how many would go get a second and third mortgage?
A lot.
How many would go and get another mortgage to go buy a newer car or pay their debts or pay this or pay that? So realistically, they didn't make any money.
No,
they put themselves in more debt.
So he calls me an idiot, and then he said basically that people are out a lot of money because of me. But in the reality, like you said, people can't. First, they're buying into houses they can't afford that are overinflated.
That's right.
And the problem is, you can't walk away from the mortgage once you default.
No. You're in big trouble. That happened to me, and I'd end up paying, and I paid it off. You can never walk away in Canada. Unless you go bankrupt, you wait 7 years, and you suffer for 7 years. Then you got to start all over again. If you're young, 20, 27, you're okay. But when you're at my age, you can forget it. It's not easy.
No, you could definitely. Yeah, you could definitely.
And before, if you remember, your gas and hydro, if you didn't pay it, was never on your credit.
No.
Now it is.
Oh no,
I hope people understand that.
God, they track you like a satellite, dude.
Yeah. Now, if you're late on your rent, your hydro or your gas, and you go apply for a loan or a car, it's on there. And I don't think a lot of people don't know that here in Canada. A lot of people don't know that.
Yeah, if you don't pay your gas. Well, they do get your SIN number when you do buy gas and electricity now. So that SIN number ties to your credit report, right?
Yeah. But the problem is they check it just to see if you're a guy that pays. That's all that's for. But the problem is now they collect the SIN and they put it against it. So if you go and get something else, it's there. It shows it. It's a service. It's not a mortgage. It's not a car payment. It's not something that you are bond to it till it's paid for. You're just using it per month. So why would it be on your credit? You don't pay it, they cut you off.
I got a question.
That's how it worked the old days. It should work the same.
Exactly.
No, they punish you that way and they punish you another way.
I got a question.
And like I said it from before. Mm-hmm. We got companies that are coming in and buying everything in Ontario, probably in Canada too, but mostly in Ontario because we have the most populated here. Mm-hmm. And they're buying these companies. Now, if you haven't heard about Acon, I don't know if you know what that company is. They do a lot of services in the construction and subdivisions, mm-hmm. and they do the power to the houses, the lines, the telephone, all that stuff. They're getting sold to a Chinese investor.
Wow.
So, like, it's either Berkshire's Developments buying it all up. I don't know. I'm trying to find it out, and I'll let you know the next time we call in. But there's like companies getting sold left, right, and center, and it just. Like, sometimes I lose sleep over it. My wife goes, well, why are you losing it? Because this is not right. We voted for people to get in power, like you said. Mm-hmm. They're just puppets. It's time that Canada gets a prime minister. I don't care if it's a he, she, whatever. It could be a friggin' alien. As long as it does what it's supposed to do.
That's why...
And you know our Constitution? Mm-hmm. Our provincial government is supposed to make laws, not the federal.
Yes.
And why are we doing everything backwards? We're so brainwashed. You go ask any university person that's listening right now, mm-hmm. anybody that went to school, ask them if they know the Constitution of Canada, when it was written. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And a lot of them won't know.
I've read the Constitution of Canada several times, and the problem is it's very vague.
Yeah.
It's very vague, so it kind of it could be interpreted in many ways, whereas the American Constitution is in point blank in stone. This is it.
That's right.
That's it.
That's right.
That's it. The founding fathers of the United States basically wrote the Constitution to protect the people from tyranny and from the British capitalists and globalists.
Yeah, because we're under our Constitution is called the BNA Act, British North American Act.
That's right.
We're part of British colony. Okay, through the Queen.
That's right.
So what bothers me is that we don't enforce it enough in this country. They try to, and I'm going to tell you and the viewers, you can look up there's a lawyer in Toronto that fought against the Harper government. He tried to pass a law back in 2014, and he won his case. It was never put in the newspaper.
Yeah.
Never put in the newspaper. So he's won that. He's won against the banks, and his name is John Galati.
Okay.
Rocco Galati. And if people want to look him up. He's a very smart lawyer when it comes to Constitution rights. And I started listening to him. I actually went to, it was one of those speaking, I guess you could say a show.
Seminar.
And he went up there and he just intrigued my mind. He got my mind just, usually I sit down like in school, like when we were younger. We used to look at all the girls, didn't care about the education. But this guy, just the way he talked and he started his presentation about the Constitution of Canada, my mind just opened up. Right there. He just said, here, Mario, I'm going to give you something and you're just going to open up to me. He hypnotized me. All of a sudden, I looked into it, and I want people to go on the website, even yourself, after the show tomorrow. Look up HART, the Heart System. He's a guy that beat the CRA back in the 50s in Winnipeg.
Yeah.
He went to court 22 times, and he won his case against the CRA. I just want people to understand. I'm getting off topic, but at the same time, I'm showing you people that went through it, and actually, it's never advertised. It's never taught.
Well, of course, they don't want to show basically that there's a light at the end of the tunnel, right? They want people to stay.
They just want to keep us like sheep, like you said.
Treadmills.
That's why people ask me where I got my name. I said I call it the Lost Canuck because that's all we are. Yep. We get up in the morning, we wear our sunglasses and drink the Kool-Aid.
That's it. Drink the Kool-Aid. Yep. That's back in the 1970s there.
Yeah. And nobody cares. Nobody cares.
I got an article here I actually wanted to bring up with you. I'm going to read a bit of it so you could maybe comment on it, what you think. It's from today. The article's from today and says, Toronto, Vancouver housing markets move in drastically different directions. And it says, Canada's two most expensive housing markets have moved in different directions over the past year, leaving average national sales with an appearance of relative stability that masks sharp regional differences. Greater Toronto area home sales fell 27% in October. Compared with the year earlier, the Greater Vancouver saw home sales climb 35% in October on an annual basis, according to statistics released on Wednesday by the Canadian Real Estate Association. So what's happening? What's happening here? We got Toronto now falling 27 points, and we got Vancouver going up 35%. And we can't have Vancouver go up 35% because it's already $2 million to buy a crack shack.
Yeah, that's crazy, man. I don't know. Sometimes I wonder, Mike, if they're doing it on purpose. I wonder if the government's starting to feed other people, promising this, promising that.
Yeah.
I don't know unless you've got an answer because I'm lost. I've been lost for a while now.
Yeah.
Because I thought after that big fall with Home Capital.
Yeah.
I think, like you said, there's no investigation going on. There's a lot of fraud. They got rid of a lot of these mortgagees and mortgagers that did fraud accounts. And, they want to blame somebody but themselves. And it just troubles me. It troubles me that we let these people guide our economy into fraud. And these people are, hardworking people. Some of them are not educated. They go to work and they think they can afford. I'll give you a perfect example. Mm-hmm. How many people that go and buy these expensive cars they can't even afford?
Oh, all the time. You see them all the time. And they drive around like they're the biggest poop in the world.
Yeah. You go in, the dealer, you can have 84 months. My dad's 84 years old. When he heard about 84 months, I think he almost choked.
84? He choked. What is that like?
Did you know my father went to buy a car? Actually, it was my uncle. Mm-hmm. I'm going to tell everybody this story and make them laugh. Mm-hmm. He called me to bring him to the car. He's Italian, of course. He knew how to speak, but he wanted me to come and look at this car. Mm-hmm. So he was buying a Toyota. I can't remember what kind of car it was exactly. Mm-hmm. But anyway, he had to pay $23,000 at the time. Did you know he brought a paper bag full of cash to the dealer? Mm-hmm. God bless him, right? We walked in there. I said, Theo, where's your money? Oh, it's right here. He pulls it out of his jacket. Okay?
Yeah.
Just like a mob movie, He's pulling it out of his jacket. He worked hard for it. When we went in, the manager goes, buddy, you can't do that. I cannot take that cash. You'd have to go to the bank. You've got to do a money draft and come back and give it to me. He goes, they're going to already question where did you get this money and all this headache. Mm-hmm. That day is gone, like you said. That day's gone. I always tell my wife, keep some cash up the stairs, hide it, whatever, because like you said, if you're going to rely on that bank card, even though it's your money in that bank, you don't know if it's going to work the next day. The system might be down for a couple of days. Then what do you do?
Yeah,
we had a power outage in 2002.
I remember that. Yep, I remember that.
And guess where I was in Niagara Falls. My wife picked the best weekend to go to Niagara Falls. We had power, we had air conditioning, we had everything.
Yeah, and Toronto was in the darkness.
Yeah, so Niagara Falls, to those people in Niagara Falls, God bless, you had power.
Yep.
And it was a great experience. But in ways, people got to understand a bad thing like that always comes out good. Because I remember growing up, we knew everybody on the street, man.
Oh, I remember those days. I love those days. He used to knock on people's doors all the time.
Yeah, or you go in their house, you grab something, no problem. Now these days, I don't even know my neighbors.
That's right, and they don't want to
get to know them, but some of them are just to themselves, which I got nothing against. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, I don't know their last name. I don't know what they like or dislike. Like it's more that a lot of people don't have time, and people have to work. We understand. Mm-hmm. But when you're taking that away from your kids, what does that tell you in the future?
Oh, yeah, it's going to get worse.
It's going to get
very
worse.
Antisocial.
Social media is good, but also appearance physically with people eye to eye is even more important.
Oh,
and I think we're losing that as people, especially in the English-speaking language.
Of course, English-speaking countries are like, yeah. I got someone commenting here. It says by Stan. He's commenting saying the blackout rumors say there was a nuclear device on the East Coast that they had shut down the power to detect it. Just a rumor. So there's something called, I think it's called an EMP, and an EMP is something. It's something that North Korea has been trying to make to shut down our electrical grid in our system. And if they do that, basically what happens is if we go out of power, they say it's for the first week. If we go one week without power, they say that like 25% of the population will get wiped out.
Yeah.
And then they say
actually the EMP who has it right now is the Russians.
Are you
they
sure?
Invented it.
Are you sure North Korea doesn't have one?
I don't know if they got it off the Russians. I don't know if they made their own. That I don't know.
I know Iran
Iran
might have one too.
They were talking in Parliament.
Yeah.
It was last year. A guy went there to talk to Parliament about the EMP, and the states they didn't want to hear about it.
They laughed at him.
Yeah, they laughed at him.
Yeah.
So they, and that's another thing. Even if our American listeners out there, I love you guys. You've been blessed for so many years, but it's turning away. It's all turning away because the way everybody thinks America's invincible. Mm-hmm. Right now, they're almost at a third world country with all the people in LA and Florida living in tents, for God's sake.
Can I ask a question? I know we're severely off topic, but I think if America went to another great war, would they win?
I don't know. That's a good question.
I don't know either. I don't think they would win if they get into another big war. I think America would not win.
Well, they say they went to Afghanistan for the opium,
mm-hmm.
and now they're going to they went to Vietnam for all the drugs there,
mm-hmm.
and there's people that are talking about it now, and now you got the Kennedy files opening up. I don't know how much we're going to know the truth about that one,
mm-hmm.
but. I don't know.
Okay.
You probably got a good point there. But like I said,
let's go back on housing. We could do a rants and lifestyle one time where we talk about we could talk about everything happening in the world, and we could do a show together.
Yeah, that's fine.
Let me ask you something. I read an article last week, and this is a really important question I want to ask. Okay.
Go ahead.
In the city of Sydney, it's gotten so bad, and Melbourne in Australia, it's gotten so bad for the policemen, the doctors, the surgeons, the plastic surgeons, the basically people, garbage men, firefighters, everybody you need in a city to make the city operate. They had to build a segregated condominium building for them to rent out because they were busing in and training in for 1 hour out of the city. And this is true. It's being built right now, a condominium, because they can't afford to live in their own city. They're policing, picking up the garbage, or whatever they're doing. So they're segregating an entire condominium only to important workers. Now, my question to you is, do you see this happening in Toronto, Vancouver, other cities too?
Yes, definitely. Definitely in Toronto. I have two gentlemen that live right across the street from me. They're firemen.
Mm-hmm.
They work in Toronto.
What?
And they work in Toronto. They're firemen.
That's like 70 miles.
Yeah. It takes them roughly, I'd say, a good hour to 45 minutes to get to work, and that's when there's no traffic. Then I have a couple of police officers too.
Mm-hmm.
They one of them works for the OPP. He's sometimes stationed here, but he's most of the time he's going to Toronto. And the famous line is, when we moved up here, my wife always says, why did we move up here? Well, we moved up here to find something cheaper,
mm-hmm.
and it's a little bit of sacrifice. But people got to understand, if the gas keeps going up, I understand you did the move, and it worked for you,
mm-hmm.
great. I love to hear when people have it working.
Mm-hmm.
The problem is, you're the maybe the 10 or 15%, and I'll explain. Some people go and move far away, depending on the gas,
mm-hmm.
the wear and tear in their vehicle, is it really worth it? And the stress of driving.
Mm-hmm.
People don't understand that makes you age, gets you upset, gets you pissed off.
Mm-hmm.
But some people love to drive. I'm not saying not all, but I came to a point where I did, when I worked for the union, I did 280,000 kilometers in 2 years.
What?
Okay?
That's like,
Yeah.
what, 52 times around the world?
Yeah, 280,000.
Wow.
I had to get a new car after that. I drove from here to, let's say, Trenton to Coburg, and that was all housing.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember driving out there, and I said, well, these people live in Toronto. I mean, work in Toronto. They're driving all the way to Bowmanville. It's still an hour away.
Like,
it's still 15 minutes away.
I have a cousin that lives in Cambridge and goes to Toronto every day.
Yeah, see, that's a haul. It's just a haul, and it's not just the driving. What about your safety?
Yeah,
Getting home, getting
snowstorms.
home in one piece.
Snowstorms.
And thank God it never happened to me. But I know a lot of guys have been driving. They got in an accident. Next thing you know, they're disabled in some way, or they can't work, and because they live far and they're driving far. But it's people got to understand, like you said, you have to, if you're going to go for that cheaper house, you have to sacrifice something in the long run. You maybe don't want the job that makes 40, maybe you go to 20, but you still can afford your house and you're close
exactly.
to home.
Your cost of living goes down,
important. Yeah, that's very important, because you're not spending the gas, so you can calculate a little less. And people got to understand. That's why when you got on there and I started watching your videos, this guy's amazing. The only thing is Portuguese, but, he's okay.
But in all fairness, do you see a crash coming soon?
Yes, I do.
When do you forecast it?
My prediction is in 2018, unless the banks, of course, or the upper class deep state might put in where a person will go buy a house, there'll be two banks buying that house for them. This is the next thing people are going to watch. A bank's going to come, okay, you can get a mortgage for $700,000. I'll give you an example. I think it happened in BC. And I said it before it happened in BC. They'll give you the down payment, one bank, so you're going to be paying a prime on that, and the second bank will give you the mortgage on the house. It's not going to be one bank, because now that the government implemented that law, people should look it up.
That's correct.
The banks are going to be even more green light of giving out the money. Yeah, we're going to do a stress test. Yeah, okay. You said it before. Did you calculate in car insurance? Did you calculate the heat and hydro in your house?
Yeah.
The food you're going to eat?
Yeah, it's
my wife buys good food, eh? My wife spends at least $250 a week on good food. So that's $1,000 a month.
Hold on a sec, but let's take a step back. You got to forget, a lot of banks do stress tests in place. They implement stress tests up to 3%, regardless. They always do anyway. I don't know why they're making it seem like they're doing it now. It's like buying an alarm for your car after it gets stolen.
Exactly.
What's the
before the crash comes? They're going to say we tried everything.
Well, that's why they wanna make it in a way where they're showing that they've done this and they've put these measures into place. So they could say later that, hey, we did it, it's not our fault, right?
That's right.
But it's too late. It's like I said, it's like buying an alarm for your car after it gets stolen, and you learned your lesson, and then you buy an alarm for your car.
Yeah, it just rattles me. It rattles me. I don't buy a newspaper anymore. I buy the Global Mail. I read the business section. I don't really read the politics anymore. There's no point. And it's sad to say, but like my father-in-law, he worked hard. Well, he worked hard. He's got a good life, good pension. And he says to me, "Oh, Canada's a rich country." My answer is no, it's not. We're living in deja vu, man. We're just waiting for the day when we go and money's not going to be worth nothing. We're going to be in so much trouble. It's not funny.
Do you think where do you think the housing market will where do you think the cracks will start? Do you think it'll start in the condo market? Do you think it'll start in the I'm thinking it's going to happen more in the detached housing market, where you start seeing more problems?
I think what's going to happen, you got a point there, but my opinion is, I think what's going to happen is the pensions are going to get hit first. I think what's going to happen is investments in pensions are going to get hit first. And what I mean by that is, I said it on my latest videos, there's, like you said, there's no money to be made on interest on any money you put in the bank.
Do you remember ING Direct? Save your money, 4.5%?
Yeah.
So if you had $1 million, you'd make 45 large a year.
Yeah, those days are gone, buddy.
Yeah.
They're gone. They're gone.
Yeah.
So now you have the pensions that are going to be in trouble.
Mm-hmm.
You now see, people don't understand. Sears is just a test. It's a tip of the iceberg.
Mm-hmm.
And what's happening is they waited for a court decision on the pensions and the severance pay.
Ooh.
Once that decision is made,
once they declare
that decision is going to be carried out to everybody else.
So it's kind of like a trial test to kind of see, like, test the waters and see how the public reacts.
That's exactly. And if nobody stands up and nobody does a lawsuit and nobody goes into the labor law and pull it out and start fighting, it's gonna cascade. The next one's gonna be, I think Toys R Us is there. Now you got Staples is coming up, and you got what's the other one? Hudson Bay.
Mm-hmm.
Now they're looking for investors. First of all, retail is the worst thing to invest in right now for the past 5 years.
Yes, it is.
So what billionaire or millionaire would go invest into that crap?
Invest in housing. Invest in the housing market. That's right. That's what they're all doing, and then that's why we're getting bought out, because no one trusts the stock markets anymore. No one trusts the oil market anymore, the futures markets anymore. No one trusts anything anymore. So the only safest place they think they could put their money is in housing.
That's right. And look what happened in Saudi Arabia with those princesses.
Yes.
They got arrested.
Yeah, for the defrauding, right? Defrauding some sort of numbers.
Yeah, and what kills me is the media is not on it. The media is not on it. The media is not telling all the people.
And these are, and the funny thing is, this affects every human being on earth.
That's right. And like I said, you remember when Home Capital was diving down, or any stock that's diving down? Then when you go buy a product from that company, that means it'll be an 80% decrease of buying it.
Yes.
So my question is to the listeners, how come are we paying so much at the pumps when we're paying $30 a barrel, even $40 a barrel Canadian?
Mm-hmm.
So we're paying 3 times as much as to go to the pump, Mike. 3 times. That feeds our economy at 25%.
Mm-hmm.
And now you got the housing market on top. So everything's inflated by we're paying more, they're paying less. Now, you remember in 2000, I think 13 or 12, the gas was at $1.30 and they were buying it for $100 a barrel. And they said, well, we're paying $100. If it goes lower, we'll pay lower. They haven't paid lower. We haven't gone lower than 90 cents. Mm-hmm. And we're that's what's feeding our economy. That's what's feeding crap.
Sorry.
That's where the government's getting all this money that they can use.
Hold on a sec. I got something playing in the background, and I don't know where it's coming from.
And with the news we've topped the list on the international
I don't know where this is coming from.
Housing and affordability.
Yeah, that's probably all the real estate agents and everybody.
Where does this still hope for
I have
first-time buyers?
no idea where this is coming from.
Experts say getting your first home is still possible,
I
but
can't
buyers
find
need
it,
to
buddy.
broaden their horizons from main cities and look elsewhere around the country.
Okay, I found it. I found it was one of those things. Okay, yeah, finally I found it. It was just playing out of nowhere.
Yeah.
So I was an article I wanted to open for you, but unfortunately, I had to close it because it was just playing some music, and I don't want to get flagged for for.
Yeah, no, that's fine. That's fine.
But the article was reading, if Canada produces so much oil and gas, why are we paying so much at the pumps? And that was the article was saying that if we cross the border into Washington State, it's $1 Canadian per liter, and we're paying $1.45 per liter in Tawasin, which is on the border of the U.S.
Yeah, there you go. There you go. You know, the people have to understand too. The oil in Alberta, they have to sell it for $80 to $85 a barrel to break even.
Right, but the price of a barrel is what, $51? I think.
Yeah. So they're losing money there, but they're getting it off us, of course, and that's what's happening.
So now, can I ask? You know, somebody brought something up to me the other day that actually made me start to think about Canada, how the immigration's working. Okay, remember back in the day, I keep saying the same story over and over and over, how our grandparents and parents came here with a bag on their shoulders. They paid off their house in 5 years. They paid off their cars. They bought a cottage. They put their kids through school. Remember that?
Yeah. Yeah,
Okay.
I remember that. Yeah.
Okay. I never thought of it on this side, but there's another angle to it. Now, because things have gotten so expensive and things are so disproportionate, that dream is a pipe dream now. Now, what I want to ask is, what about the people, for example, that are living somewhere and they're good, like a good engineer or something, but they can't come here anymore and live that Canadian dream and build a life because it's too expensive? I never looked at it from that side. Now, the people that want to come over from Europe or people that want to come by from Russia, wherever, right? They can't anymore.
No.
So what happens to the skilled labor or skilled people we want to bring in now? They're not going to come.
Yeah. No more blue collar.
But then what happens? Because I never looked at it on that angle anymore.
No, that's a good point. That's a very good point.
You know?
I don't know. It's amazing. I'm going to tell you what else is happening here in Ontario.
Mm-hmm.
These new builders, new developers,
Mm-hmm.
they started getting greedy.
Mm-hmm.
So what they're doing is they got out of getting a build. See, when you go to a subdivision, so people understand it here in Ontario.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if it's in BC the same thing. In Ontario, when a subdivision goes up, it's usually a developer that starts it,
Mm-hmm.
and that developer sells its lots to the builders. Okay, It's not a builder that goes in from scratch; it's a developer. What happened is there's a Chinese developer that's really big here in Ontario.
Mm-hmm.
He got out of developing, he wants to build his own, which is, I give him all the thumbs up. He's got to hire all the people, whatever, right?
Mm-hmm.
The issue I got is he doesn't want to do piecework anymore. He wants to try and find a cheaper way of building it, like any other business, buying a store or a retail store to make more profit,
Mm-hmm.
which I agree. You know, if I'm going to buy something, I'm going to make more money, just like your store.
Yeah.
But my problem is, you just said it. Where are you going to find the people that'll do the work? So that means you're going to drive their wages up,
Mm-hmm.
or you're going to bring foreigners in.
Mm-hmm.
That's what's going to happen.
But the foreigners can't come because they can't afford it.
No, I'm not talking about those kind of foreigners.
Oh!
I'm
You're talking about okay. You're talking about the higher up people.
That's
the
right.
1%.
That's
The
right.
1%.
Yes. So what's going to happen is they're going to come in at a cheaper,
Mm-hmm.
and there's going to be disputes because now, let's say you go buy a house today in Ontario, you want to put it up, and you bought this house from a builder. They haven't even put the sewers in yet.
Mm-hmm.
So you're looking at 2 years,
Mm-hmm.
a year and a half to 2 years. So what would happen after that? What happens if the market goes down?
Right.
Are these people going to buy the house? That's what I'm worried about.
This is the problem.
What I said
Yeah.
at the beginning of the show. Are they going to walk away from their deposit? Yes, definitely they are. They're not entitled to that house. What is the builder going to do? Is he going to sue 100 people from walking away? He couldn't afford it.
Let me tell you. Let me tell you what happened when I was in Florida. In 2007,
Yeah.
there was a pre-con in Fort Lauderdale, and a lot of people were waiting for the pre-con. A lot of people were waiting in line for it, and this is when the housing market in Florida was going nuts. And people were buying people's turn in line, giving them $5,000 to take their place in line to take this over. But the problem is they broke ground. They were supposed to break ground in 2007, 2008, around that time. And it was a pre-con that they were selling in 2005, and the market was just on fire, right?
Yeah.
And what happened was a lot of people walked away from their deposits in 2007 and 2008 because they had no choice. They had no choice. And I saw it. I've met people that had to have to do that. They put $30,000 down, 20 large down, and they had to walk away. And you know why? Because they were in the fear of being bought out of the market forever.
Holy crap.
Yeah, you don't have no idea of how many people I knew personally that went into this deal, and they were telling me, Mike, you got to buy it. It's in Fort Lauderdale. It's on Andrews Boulevard. You could do really well with that area. It's always now you could go there and buy a 2-bedroom for like $160. You know.
Yeah. I looked when you started saying go on the internet. I started looking. Me and my wife,
Mm-hmm.
We were looking at Texas. We were looking at all those places.
Yep. Because
I couldn't believe it.
the cost of living in the States is always cheap because some states are cheap. You got California that's through the roof, New York that's through the roof. You got the whole gateway to China, to Asia, from Vancouver all the way down to San Diego. It's overpriced because it's the gateway to Asia, right?
That's right.
But right there, all up and down, California has a mass exodus. What did the Californians do? They went up to Portland, Oregon, and they went to Seattle. Now, Portland, Oregon, and Seattle are overpriced, and everyone's going east to Montana, and east to Nevada, and east to New Mexico.
Jeez.
I have a friend that calls in to me here from East Texas, Southeast Texas. He calls in and said he left California because he can't afford to. The cost of living wasn't worth the standard of living. And that's what the problem is. People are paying Lamborghini prices for a Volkswagen Scirocco.
Holy crap, I haven't heard of that name Scirocco in years.
Right, but
yeah, that makes sense.
But Mario, can I ask you a question? Would you pay Lamborghini price for a Volkswagen Scirocco?
No.
That's what people are doing with houses.
Yeah, exactly. You said it. You couldn't say it better than what you just said. And I wish these young people would stop buying. I wish everybody would just let it sit and let them drop it.
Do you remember
let them drop all the money.
Do you remember that episode where we found that house that was selling for $4.8 million, motivated seller? You remember that show I did?
Yeah.
Anyway, so we went shopping in that show and what we could buy for $4.8 million around the world. We bought.
I remember. You showed me the one in Portugal with the boat. You're going to put a yacht.
Yeah, and then the Lear jet and the. Yeah, that jet. I even spoke to the guy that was selling it. He told me that it would cost me about $45,000 for a pilot for the year, and fuel would cost me about $50,000 for the year, and I could still sell it back at the same price 1 year later.
Wow.
And the jet was $1 million basically all in. I could buy that jet, fly around the world for an entire year with my family because it's a 12-passenger jet, and go all over the place with the fuel. And then after 1 year, I could sell it back for the same price, and it'll only cost me $100,000.
Jeez, Murphy.
And that would be amazing to do. Where you know what I'm saying? You buy a plane ticket for $1,400. I mean, you take 3 of those trips, you're already at $7,000-$8,000, right?
That's right. That's right, especially with the family. Yep.
Yeah. So
right.
you see what I'm saying? People are not looking outside the box because if I took you to that tarmac, if we went to that tarmac and I showed you that plane, Mario, I said, Mario, go buy that plane. You'd be like, I can't buy that plane, Mike. Yes, you can because people are buying houses worth more than that plane.
Yep.
And people are not looking outside of their thing. They're thinking they're going to be bought out for life. They're thinking that they're going to have no future because they don't own. And yes, home is where the heart is. Yes, people want to lay roots. Yes, people are understanding, but they're brainwashing us and massaging us into believing that, oh, you don't need to own anymore, just rent. No, you don't need to get married anymore. Marriage is old. People are happier being single. Oh, no, you don't need this. Oh, you don't have to have kids. And how's our puppy? Can I ask you one question, Mario? Can I ask you? I got this question in my mind today when I was driving.
Go ahead, buddy.
How do we have 7 billion people on our earth if everybody I've known and went to high school with, between 300 people I know on Facebook, only 3 of us have kids?
It's scary.
How do we have 7 billion? How do we have 7 billion people if none of us are having kids?
That's right. And not only that, if you look at, like you just said it, if you look at all the couples that get married, most of them have 1 kid.
If that.
Especially in Europe. In Italy, there's a problem there. Big problem.
Yes, because the death rate is higher than the birth rate.
Get married. Nobody wants to get married. Everybody wants to live. And I tell the listeners out there, first of all, marriage is a blessing.
It's a sacrament.
And it's between you, your wife being one, number one, and number 2, you're doing it in front of God's altar.
That's right.
So you have to understand the importance of it. Now, if I wasn't married and I had kids with some woman, I wouldn't call her my wife. I don't care how long she's been with me. I didn't promise in front of God's idol, church or whatever, to promise that I'd be faithful. Now, they can take off their jacket and put it on whenever they want, meaning they can leave and come back. That's how it is.
Mm-hmm.
And that's how it is society today. So you take our fathers and grandfathers, when they bought something, like you said, they weren't thinking of selling it in a year or 2 years. They wanted to raise a family, pay it off. It's theirs. Look what we're doing now. We're putting ourselves in the debt. We go get a line of credit, another debt.
We're putting ourselves into slavery. Putting ourselves into debt is the school book way of saying it.
That's right.
The street way of saying it is you're putting yourself into slavery.
That's right.
And that
it's sad, Mike. It's sad. And like I said, I don't emphasize it as much as I should. But I tell everybody at work, especially the young people that get into the trade or whatever, I said, do me a favor, buy a car and pay it for it.
Yeah.
Don't get a loan. Don't get a new truck. Yeah, they look beautiful. You look beautiful in it. But at the same time, you don't own it.
It's an illusion.
So, yes, you got it. So what? You got to impress who? You got to impress somebody the opposite sex, or you got to impress your friends. I tell them all the time, pay for it, pay it in cash, pay half of it, whatever you got to do, as long as you got most of it going to the bank. I made my mistakes as I was young, but I'm trying to tell other people to do the opposite.
You know, I want to put one word out there that a lot of people don't know. The young people don't know. It's a word. It's an English word, and it's called layaway. When you actually put money away every month to buy something, and God forbid people do that anymore.
I don't think they have enough, Mike, to be honest with you. There's so much debt that they don't even know what to do with it. In Barrie, I'm telling you right now, I've never seen so many cashier checks or money marts in Barrie.
Oh, like payday loans and crap like that?
Yes, there's so many around. They've been popping up like mushrooms for the past 4 years. It's gone crazy.
Those places should be audited. Those places should be audited and shut down.
God bless you said that. God bless you said that. They're making millions. And the thing is, the government doesn't do anything. The municipalities don't do anything because they're renting out the buildings and they're paying their taxes. They're paying whatever. But again, there's no different than a guy selling drugs at the corner.
Nope.
If this guy's doing fraud and everything else.
You know, it's nuts. It's crazy where things are headed, and I don't know what to say because it's just you know what the funny part of this is the whole time. It's just basic common sense.
Yeah.
It's not like we're sending a rocket to the moon. It's not like we're trying to turn water into wine. It's just common sense. Can I afford to buy that house? No. Then why am I buying it? You know what I'm saying? It's just common sense. You ask yourself the question 3 times. Can I afford that Ferrari? No. Can I afford that Ferrari? No. Can I afford that Ferrari? No. Okay, maybe I can't afford that. It's common sense, but they go in and they buy the Ferrari.
Yeah, you're absolutely right.
It's
right.
basic common sense. It's not like we just came out of bedrock with the Flintstones are living. We're here. We see what's going on around us. It's not like we just came from another planet. We're here. And that's why I keep saying, Mario, as a joke, we need either a biblical intervention or we need space aliens to come in and fix the problem.
Yeah, I'm telling you.
We need a biblical intervention. We need something. I don't care. Let it rain cats. We need something to happen so that we can come to our senses and start realizing what is really happening around us. And it's all rational common sense. A lot of people are in these situations because they didn't look twice before they crossed the street.
You know, and like I said, if we can only pick a day, me and you, and get every listener to go to the bank and take the money out, and get most of the 90% of the population to do it.
Yeah, that will wake the banks up. That will cause a runoff on the system, and that would.
And it'll correct itself.
Okay, I want to ask odds percentages. You're gonna give me a percentage on things, okay? A percentage, okay?
Okay.
Percentage. What is your percentage out of 100% that the housing market will crash in 2018?
I say between 30 and 40%.
Okay. What is your percentages on the Canadian proper 50% of Canadians filing for bankruptcy in 2018?
Okay, here's another thing. We're going to talk about bankruptcy.
Mm.
In Canada, a couple that makes $41.50 a month cannot claim bankruptcy.
41.
So how do you live
41
on $4,100
a month? Yeah.
Here in Ontario, especially, I looked into it. So let's say my wife and I both make $2,200 a month.
Okay.
So we cannot claim bankruptcy. There's a number, Mike. There's a number. And that number should be changed, number one. That's the first thing they should do. It should be over $5,000 or $5,500 for a family of four. And that's including paying everything. So you say percentage-wise, depends what if you take and what kills me is this consumer proposal that came in. It's not too long ago they introduced this crap where people start paying all these things half of what they're supposed to pay. In other words, it's just an introduction of a bankruptcy, but it doesn't give you that 7-year lock, which is okay. Because if you have money, I can understand it works. But same thing with bankruptcy, Mike. If you claim bankruptcy and all of a sudden you win the lottery the next day, you pay off all your debts. Yeah. It's the same shit. So, excuse my language. Yeah. But when I say the percentage of bankruptcies are going to go up, I say about 60 to 70%.
Wow.
Because people are living on credit.
That's correct. Okay, next. Okay, I got another question. Condo market. Do you see the condo market crashing in 2018? What is your percentages on that?
The condo market is going to crash, and the only reason why I tell people that it's going to crash, if you go back in the early 90s, they were building like crazy here in Ontario. They were going nuts, okay? Then the recession hit. And when it hit in 91, 92, it started going down. Now, when I tell you the market's going to crash, they're going to have so many vacant condos, it's not going to be funny.
Oh, yeah, because they're overbuilding right now.
Yeah, especially in the city of Toronto. And we think 100,000 of homes, say 200,000 in condos in Toronto alone. Because what's happening is, yeah, they're building. These people put deposits. And like I said, when the market starts to drop, the first thing that goes, Mike, is not a detach. The first thing is condos.
Condos always fall first. That's the rule of thumb. Yeah.
Yeah. So the condos will go first. As soon as the condos go first, the houses start to drop. So when condos start to drop, that's when everybody starts to panic. So the guys that are working there, the guys that do the work on the condos, the cement and this and that, they start to decrease in work. Those people lose jobs. Then it goes to the housing. Then the housing starts. And then once the construction starts to go down, then everything follows through.
So
it's a domino effect.
Percentages. What is your percentage thinking? What do you think percentage-wise that the condo market will crash in 2018? How sure are you?
I say a good 60%.
Okay. So you're very sure. You're kind of sure on that one. Okay.
Yeah, that one there, I'm sure it's 60% because it's like I said, it's over. Of course, it's overvalued. And now that what they're doing is they're building more and more, and they have permits to build even more. And I think they're building one big one down at Yonge. I just found out the other day with plazas and stores, which I don't understand where these stores are coming from. I got vacant buildings here in Barrie.
Yep.
I got companies
Strip malls.
Barrie.
Strip malls.
Yeah.
Those strip malls are becoming empty too, and gas stations.
Yeah. The Georgian Mall, I don't know if you know where that is in Barrie. They lost at least 30-40% of retail stores.
Yeah, because it's all empty. It's all vacant.
It's affecting everybody.
Oh.
And then we forgot, Mike, with the housing crisis, what about the minimum wage going up in Ontario? That's going to be a big test in January. How many are going to get laid off? How many are going to lose employment?
Yeah, but that's in the private. But Mario, that's the private sector. The private sector basically is going to lose a lot because the private sector is what supports the public sector, right?
That's right. That's right.
The private sector.
You're going to lose 30% of the workforce.
That's correct. If we lose 30% of the workforce, you're looking at huge problems because that's what's supporting the public sector, right?
That's right. That's exactly what I'm trying to say, and I've been saying it to a lot of people, and it's just crazy. It's just crazy. She put everything in the wrong time. It was never calculated. And sometimes, Mike, I wonder if they're doing it on purpose.
Yeah, that's something. An anomaly that people are looking into. Like, are they playing with our lives? Are we pawns on a chessboard? Are we being taking advantage of? You know what I'm saying?
That's right. Exactly.
And that is.
There's no government for the people anymore.
Oh God, that was back. That died in 1963, November 22nd, when John F. Kennedy was assassinated.
You got it, buddy. God bless you. Said that.
That's
Absolutely
the day
right.
America died. November 22nd, 1963. That's the day America died.
And look at that. We're only a few days away from that day.
Yep. Oh yeah. November 22nd. It's going to be anniversary, eh?
Yeah. It's going to be the anniversary. And you listen to that speech he said before he died.
Oh yeah.
I always say
that's the speech that killed him.
The president talked like that with such intelligence, authority, and he knew what to say.
Oh,
it's just unbelievable.
The Kennedys are like the royalty of America, right?
Yeah, I know.
The Kennedys are like, yeah.
I know they are.
They got the wrong end of the stick. They meant rights. They especially Robert F. Kennedy. They all wanted to really make America great. Unfortunately, they just they shook the wrong people, or they got into the wrong people, or they've upset the wrong people, and look what happened. You know what I'm saying? It's how do we fix this? I think we need a reset button.
Yeah, exactly. I agree with you.
We
100%.
need a reset button. Something needs to happen. There needs to be some sort of collaboration. Like I said, like, you know what I'm saying? A lot of countries are scared to invest in Canada because they're afraid that they're going to devalue their own currency now, because we're becoming so expensive that we don't have the skilled people to work in those areas.
That's right.
A lot of companies are afraid. Did you hear about that company in Dublin, Ireland, that's paying their employees first and last month's rent because they can't afford their first and last month's rent, and work? Yeah.
No, I didn't hear nothing about that.
Yep, in Dublin, Ireland, they're doing that because the employees cannot pay the first and last month's rent to get into Dublin. So the company is paying for their first and last month's rent. Sydney and Melbourne, I told you they're building that segregated housing for police officers, nurses, garbage men, firemen, because the city, they can't afford to live in the city, and they have to bus it like from a million miles. You know what I'm saying?
Unbelievable.
So,
going back, you remember growing up, we had the garden in the back. I do it myself. You do it, and I enjoy it. And we don't get too much. Last summer was beautiful. This summer wasn't too bad, but now we're getting hit with a little bit of cold. But I mean, that's what people are going to start doing and have to do, and it's good in a way. They're outside, but you got to grow your own vegetables.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I've been preaching that off-grid stuff for years. Go off-grid. Yeah. But now, then, you got a couple of states in the U.S. where it's illegal to go off-grid.
Yeah, I know. See? They're making laws just to make themselves richer. That's all they do.
That's all it is. And that's what's been happening. It's a back-and-forth tennis match that gets nowhere. And the thing is, right now, it's 3v1. It's 3 versus 1 right now. We're the 1, and the 3 is always hitting that ball back. And we have to chase that ball and hit it back over the net so we don't lose, right?
That's right. And that's right. And people got to be aware. Got to be aware of their politicians, what laws they're passing.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter if you see it. Don't watch the news. You got to go on the computer like me and you. Do your own research. Zero Hedge Fund is another great one. I tell people to watch.
Yeah, that's Tyler Durden. He's such a nice guy.
Oh, he's great articles. I love his articles. He's taught me so much. And just like in BC, people don't know. But in your province, I'll give you a perfect example what the government passed that most of you people don't even know. They're allowed to have sex with their animals.
Oh, yeah, I remember that. Yeah, they passed that law. It's like, oh my God, are you serious? Like,
yeah, and nobody knows. Like, a lot of people don't know. They think I'm joking. They think I'm a conspiracy nut.
Yeah.
Go on the internet, do it yourself.
Yeah.
Check it. The government passed it.
Yeah. It's this,
right under their nose.
It's not even sad.
That's what it's called. And it just, there you go. The greed, evil. That's what it is. At the end of the day, we're fighting. Me and you are trying to inform people. And like you said, you got your YouTube, censored. So did I, because maybe I touched somebody at the wrong side or the wrong information. Well, the information was correct, but maybe it just bothered the person's power or will, and next thing you know, I had everything taken off.
Yeah. I know you told me that story. In all fairness, to be really frank with you, it's not even it's we're in a position right now, guys, like, and people listening, guys, especially people trying to get the ultimate dollars, trying to make the money, trying to get the big bucks. People need to understand it's not how much you make, it's how much you spend.
That's right. Exactly. You said it. Exactly.
Yeah. And it's how much you spend, and you could live a very good, modest, easygoing lifestyle outside of the big cities, doing the same thing you do maybe for half the wage, and you have more time for your family, more time for sports, more time for everything else, and you can live a normal life again. You know what I'm saying? But
yeah.
people are going for the ultimate dollar, the ultimate buck. Why? When you pay more taxes, when you pay more this, you're above the radar. You are this, you are that, you are a target. Why would you want to even put yourself in that position? When you can live a simple, modest lifestyle, just getting by, keeping it clean, paying your taxes, doing what you got to do, instead of everyone's going for the almighty dollar. And that's why I keep saying, and I'm going to keep saying it again, the Antichrist is the almighty dollar.
You got it, buddy. That's what runs everything. It
controls us on every level. Psychologically, it runs us on everything. And it's very, very scary.
It is, and like I said to all the listeners, to you, I wish I was wrong. I wish something would come and just change everything and be perfect, and I can go on. We can go on being happy, but I don't think we're wrong. I think we're more than informing people. We're actually getting them ready to hit reality, to understand, to wake up and open your mind. Just go outside, look at everybody. Just look at the stress, everybody running to work and doing whatever they have to do just to make those payments. And we're not talking just a mortgage. We're talking everything. Everything's monthly. Growing up in my house, I don't think I've ever seen a monthly bill except the hydro and the gas. Everything else was paid per year.
Yeah, but now everything's monthly. Car insurance, everything's monthly. Our lives have become pay-as-you-go lives.
Yeah, it's gone to. I could say that's where they make most of their money is compound interest. That's exactly what they use. Pay every month. Oh, you need a new washer machine and dryer. No payments in Leon's till April.
Oh, remember that? Don't pay a cent event.
Yeah.
Don't pay a cent for another 10 years.
Yeah, it's crazy. That's how we're living on right now.
We're living on fumes. I don't think we're not living on gas. Our gas is running out. We're on fumes right now. The way things are headed.
Fumes are coming, and it's coming. Like I said, in 2018, if it doesn't happen, that means people gotta understand, Mike. If it doesn't happen next year, and when it does happen, let's say 2019, it's gonna be very devastating, because that means the system is feeding bull crap. And when it finally runs out of fumes, like you said, you just said it, there's nothing to go in the tank anymore.
That's right. Because
then it's like, how are you going to correct it? How are you going to pull this country and this province out of debt? How are you going to get everybody to start eating and feeding each other? It's just crazy. It's crazy. But anyway, Mike, I want to thank you tonight.
Yes.
And I got to get ready to go to work tomorrow.
Yes.
But it's been a pleasure, buddy. A pleasure.
We're gonna have to meet up sometime for some wine or some drinks or something, or some cappuccino or something.
Oh yeah. I'll call your show probably in about a couple weeks, and I got to do some following up on what's passing next.
Sure.
So we can get onto that topic. Maybe I'll get on your other show.
Yeah.
And we can talk about the rents and all that stuff.
Yeah, we could talk. The rents and lifestyle conspiracy is really good. We can start talking about how some lady wanted to marry a train station.
Yeah,
I'm not joking, dude. I ain't kidding, man. I ain't kidding.
Oh, there's a new one that's been popping, and it's been going on for a couple of years before I leave. And I'm looking into it. Is the Michelle Obama being a Michael Obama?
Oh God. It's all but yeah. And if it is, who cares? It doesn't really matter. It's just
no. I don't follow it. It's just a lot of people send me this stuff. But it's just interesting how we can be fooled.
Yep, it's interesting how the media media one size. Yeah, exactly, dude. Anyways, dude, I want to thank you for coming on the show. It really means a lot to me, and we will keep in touch for sure. I want to thank all our listeners and watchers for watching the show. I want to thank all our other people that are picking up the show and rebroadcasting it, and I want to thank people for rebroadcasting our footage, and I want to thank people for subsidiaries that are picking up, and I don't know how they're doing this, but they're putting this on a podcast for us. So somebody's been podcasting our show for us, so that's really good too.
Oh, right on. That's good. God bless them. Anyway, Mike, I'd like to say thank you.
God bless
you and your family, and God bless, and I'll pray for them tonight.
Yeah.
For all the blessings and all the things you taught us.
Yeah.
And to the listeners out there, don't be afraid. Let me get in your face.
Yep.
I'm on the Lost Canuck. Have a good night, people.
Good night.
Good night, brother. Ciao.
Good night. Ciao. Well, that was the Lost Canuck, people. I finally have him on the show, and I we wanted to talk about quite a few topics, and we'll see what happens. I'll get him on the show in the next couple of weeks. We'll see what happens economy-wise, what's happening. Everyone's watching the economy now like more than before, which is really good. It's waking people up to start kind of looking at what's really happening in front of us, because it's all common sense. It's all, in the end, it's all common sense. Anyways, guys, Godspeed, good night. I'm gonna go to sleep. It's 9:40. It's still early. I'm maybe gonna do some other things around the house. Maybe spend some time with the kids. You guys have a good night. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button. Follow me on YouTube, and follow me on Instagram too. I got an Instagram page. Message me on there if you want to send me articles and stuff. Okay, my Instagram's open. You don't have to ask permission. Just come to Instagram. Find me, Mike Martins. You'll find me. And please message me on there. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to hit the subscribe button.